This week to help Jessica, and part of it was I'd offered to do this, so I'm ready to go if you guys are. So the first one on here is Ordinance 1/2023. It's the entering into the contract for the electrical vehicle. I think this is up for third reading, right?
Yep.
Anybody have any questions? All right. The next one up is the agreement for the donation of property. Do you have anything you want to say on this?
We've kind of already talked about this in executive session, so at this point, unless Mark has something to add, I think you guys are very aware of where it stands and what we're intending to do with it. Unless you guys have questions, you already have a pretty good idea of where this is headed.
Yeah, we're just still negotiating the donation agreement, so.
So just two on this?
Yeah, I was going to say two.
Second.
Yeah, if you could just do second, and then hopefully we'll have something for the next meeting on this.
Okay.
We'll pass.
I do want to point out one piece with that though, well, never mind, I'll wait.
Okay. All right. No other questions, I'll move on. Next one up is an appointment back to the Parks and Rec. Do you want to talk about that?
I'm glad that Donnie agreed to stay on with us, and we'll be happy to hear more from him. We really haven't heard much from him, but we're glad that he could volunteer. So I'd like to, hopefully we can do this 1, 2, 3 and get him going.
I have no problem with that since he's already been seated.
Yeah,
Keeping in
he's
mind,
having a great sale for 99 bucks.
Oh yeah, we got the
Jewelry,
flyer
candy,
today.
and flowers,
Oh,
while supplies last. I gave it to Craig. So, oh, look, what came in the mail today?
a hint in the mail. Huh?
Yeah.
keeping in mind, he fulfilled the vacancy, so that's why he's up again, because it's 5 years, right?
Right.
Mark?
Okay. I thought I remember.
Right, he just
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, it was very
appointed.
brief, less than a year, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I think he was appointed,
Probably in
it's
the
like
summer.
September of 2022 to fill Jeremy Benedicta's remainder term, which expired 12/31/22.
All right. Anybody object? 1, 2, 3. All right. Mayor, you want to talk about the emergency repairs to the drive?
Sure, so we've had some problems, and I'll kick this over to Mr. Gelati in a moment here, but we've had a lot of drainage problems. If you go around the back of the building, especially, well, Joe, you could just.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, so this is, well, I believe everybody has the map. It's in your packet. So this is a project that we've been looking at for a little while. It's in the budget for 2023 that you guys did such a nice job passing. So consists of a few things. We'll repair some portions of the concrete pavement in front of the fire bays where the pavement is cracked or deteriorated. As the mayor said, there's a series of drainage problems that exist along this emergency drive. I won't go into the detail unless somebody really wants to know. And then we will re-asphalt surface the entire driveway in the area outlined in red on the map that you guys have.
And just so I can point out too, back by the fire department, we have tends to hold water there, which if you know anything about pavements, if you hold water, it's gonna deteriorate quickly. Not only that, when emergency equipment's pulling out of there, it's just a very thin bit of water. If it freezes, we obviously wanna avoid that. We've been battling that for a long time.
Since it was built.
City historian, thank you.
I have a question here. Back when that was first introduced as having this work needed to be done, I suggested to the previous service director to put a pad in, an oversized pad in, where the dumpster is for the cardboard, and that people that were walking in that area to dump cardboard, and so the dumpster would be put in the same place all the time and wouldn't be chewing up all of that grass and having mud all the way around it. I don't know if we can still do that with the current bid, to add that cement pad.
Well, on one hand, we could do anything. On the other hand, I haven't looked real close at the dumpster, but I'm guessing that there's no dumpster enclosure, because it sounds like the concern is the dumpster gets moved around.
Only because of where it lands with the truck, when
Yeah.
it sets it down.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily lay it down in the same place all the time.
All right. Well, we'll take a look at it, and I'll speak to him. maybe to Bob, and we'll see
It
what
was
it is
just
that
a
we can
suggestion
do.
back at the time, I remember
Yeah.
talking to a previous service director about
Okay.
that. Thank you.
And just to clarify, they're not emergency repairs, they're repairs to the emergency drive.
I was
Correct.
just gonna say something about that, so thank you. So, given that clarification, are we looking for first reading or more?
Well, this
It's
is-
just to bid it out.
Yeah, I would
Just a little
suggest
bit. Oh, it's
1,
just a
2,
bid.
3.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3?
Please.
Okay. And I think you're probably gonna talk about the next one, right?
Is the next one Golden Link?
Yes, it is.
Yes, I will. So this is, again, everybody should have a little map in their packet showing Golden Link Boulevard. So this is a straightforward asphalt resurfacing of the area, again outlined in red there on your map. This will be scheduled for night work to avoid all of the traffic there in the shopping center. This is a joint project that we are doing with Northfield Center Township. And I guess the highlight of this project is the city had previously received a grant for $144,000, which is equal to 50% of the cost, to go towards this paving project.
I'm assuming 1, 2, 3?
Please.
And this is in unison with Northfield Center, did you say? that?
Correct.
I don't know
Yes,
if
I
heard
did.
you.
Very well needed.
This is the,
Yes.
this is the
Laterals.
paving project we talked about in the JED, right?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
and for those
Yeah,
of
we're
you
doing
on the
that
JED
for
board, you have already spoken about this once, correct?
Well, the construction of Optimus, not fully over, but they won't have the giant trucks, because they're just doing upstairs.
Yeah.
Same with Panda.
Panda, pardon me?
I was gonna say, same with Panda, they haven't done their brick yet. It's gonna be brick, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I don't think they'll have the big construction vehicles anymore, so you should be okay to go ahead and do it this year.
They'll
And
finish
not
it,
have
they'll
to
finish
come
it way
back.
before, you know, this is
We
just
don't wanna
for-
come back and
for bids.
revisit it again and again.
Well, even still, they hold a bond, so if there was any damage, no matter what, they're gonna pay to fix that.
Good
Right.
point.
Did you guys get an estimate on the emergency drive? It's $215 if you did it. I thought
I
somebody
didn't
had
know if
asked
you
at
did.
the last
I,
meeting.
I don't remember if we
$215,000.
talked about the cost. I
Yeah.
think we did bring it up and that the city had a grant, the city was able
No,
to.
no, just for the emergency drive.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's $215,000.
No, I don't think that was.
Estimated.
Okay. All right, any other questions on this? Who wants to talk about the Tahoe?
I would love to talk about
All
that.
right.
So, we've talked many times, we're in a dire straits with police vehicles here. We did get the 4 Tahoes in that are currently sitting in the back. We're waiting on the light bars and all the equipment that goes in the vehicles. So far, we have other units, other parts of the department using them as they can. But we are in dire straits with cars. We're dumping a lot of money into them. The Sergeant Costello has been calling around trying to find them. I made a phone call to Ken Ganley, not Tim Ganley. I don't know if we should correct that on there. It's Ken Ganley Chevrolet. But they had one, and I was able to get it right now. And we need everything we can get now. These cars are falling apart. They're over 100,000 miles. We don't normally let them get to that point. I did find out today that Dodge has us in the queue for builds, and Ford's saying they're going to give us cars. But I feel like it's a bad relationship with a girlfriend because it's just not ever coming through. And every time that we hear that, they come back and say, nope, we're canceling your order. So I don't trust anyone at this point. But even if we get to that point, because we've talked before, because we ordered all of these vehicles, if we cancel them or we buy them, someone's gonna need them somewhere, or we can just cancel our order and someone's gonna buy them. So I need to get police vehicles in here now. I can't stress that enough. We need them now.
I believe, I just want to mention this in case people didn't catch it, we changed the dollar amount, right?
Yeah, from the 62,737 to 67,500. After speaking with Mr. Barris, he recommended a little bit more wiggle room in case the cost of outfitting it with equipment happens to be a little bit higher. And now I think be consistent with what we estimated for some of the prior Tahoe approvals.
Okay.
Do we need to change that to Ken Ganley?
Oh, yeah, you can make a motion
Yeah, I
to
would like to.
amend it. I mean, the contract's attached, but might as well clean it up.
Is it just in the title or is it anywhere in the,
It's probably in the legislation.
you just make the
itself.
motion to say anywhere in the,
Yeah.
It's in
Yep.
Just in the
Well, you see
legislation.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, where it's.
Oh,
Right before the now, there were 4.
so it'll be to replace Tim with Ken?
Correct.
yeah.
I'm assuming 1, 2, 3 because of the urgency.
And I hope everyone's good with that.
Yes.
Christian wanted to pick it up today. I said, no, you have to wait.
If that gives any indication how badly we need them.
That's awesome.
So we actually have some that we ordered, but they're just not ready to be put to use. And then this
They're
one-
out there.
And this one will come ready to
But
use.
we don't have light bars, the equipment inside, the mounts, I mean, everything's delayed, like, it's getting a little better, but it's not quite there. I think they said, like, April, we should have those up and running and in service.
This one has to be outfitted too.
Okay, so this is a fifth,
This is another one.
okay.
And we need, the DB needs cars, all of our police cars need replaced, so we need a lot of vehicles here.
This one that we get will also go immediately over to Classic Design and get all the
Yeah, they do a lot of our
Graphics.
Details.
And then the state gateway. Yeah. We're outfitted.
Alright. The next one is changes to the positions of the clerk of court.
So we are asking to add back a deputy clerk. It's no secret what's going on in that department. We've realized in the past, we did have a second person in there. The workload is really, really high right now. And I'm sure Mrs. Smith and Mr. Gaddetti are gonna touch on this too, but in talking about this over quite a bit of time and with Kathy coming in, you saw when you guys affirmed Kathy that she's very, very talented at what she does. She knows it inside out, and she needs help, and she needs it now. What we've been supplementing that with is people from Mr. Veris's department, which has put a strain on the finance department, and we can now no longer do that. Even Vinny over here has been working in there as part-time capacity to try and help. So there's actually gonna be 3 people in there. We really need some help in there. It's needed badly, and I'm sure you guys can add to that if I missed anything. Or-
Yeah, so I would just mention that the non-union pay ordinance already provides for both the clerk of court position as well as the deputy clerk of court position. As you can see from the red lines on the exhibit, or within the legislation, really the ordinance just speaks to the deputy clerk of court. There's actually a provision in there where it combines the general clerk with the deputy clerk and the police secretary, so that had been done a long time ago. So really what this does is update this section of the code to be consistent with how we're operating and want to operate today. HR had also looked and didn't really find a position description beyond what was set forth in the code for the position of deputy clerk. So what you have attached as Exhibit A is a new position description, which is consistent with the ordinance as revised.
So the ordinance as it is now just mentions a deputy clerk and not the clerk? So
It mentions that the clerk is combined with the deputy clerk position.
Okay. And so we're changing it to have them as
Two
two
separate.
Okay.
Yep.
And keeping in mind, pre-pandemic, we had 1.5, 1 3/4 people in that office. Pandemic hit, a lot of things fell off, we weren't nearly as busy, it's ramped back up. So we're wanting to make that a full-time position. In terms of the budget, I don't think it's gonna have a major impact on us at all. I mean,
Is it
No.
the same
It'll help
pay
with
level
collections.
as the clerk?
no, much less,
Yeah,
significantly less.
so it's amending 17102 to be consistent with the non-union pay ordinance. The salaries and the budget for the salary remain static for both positions.
Do you remember what the pay tier was? I can't find that.
I wanna say 18, up to $18 an hour maybe?
I
It's-
don't have the ordinance.
Do you know what the level is as compared to
I thought
the
it was
clerk?
I thought it was a
five.
pay grade 5.
Okay.
yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
It's a lower grade level of pay, so it's not gonna be,
yeah, the deputy clerk is a pay grade 5, and the clerk, I believe, is a
7?
7,
Yeah.
yes. I was trying to think 7 or 8, but I think it's a 7.
Yeah, it brings up another question for me. Okay, we have another position now that's not filled, that he mentioned, that Mark mentioned in, as far as way back in the beginning when they included everybody in it, the police chief's administrative assistant.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, so where are we with that particular position?
So what I will say to that is initially I was asked to do nothing until the new chief was put into place,
Okay.
because they wanted the new chief to have the ability to hire their own person. But I was asked by Vince Yakupovich a couple of weeks ago to get a position posted. However, we have to determine whether we're posting the dispatch supervisor / administrative assistant, or what Sonia was actually doing towards the last couple of years that she was here, because one of them has to come through council, and it had not, and it was all relevant to a discrepancy of her supervising someone in the dispatch that she was related to. So
Correct, yeah.
anyway, there's a lot of things, moving parts that have to happen, and I'm ready to either present a new job description to council, or go ahead and keep, if they're going to use that person as a dispatch supervisor and an admin, then we can just post that. So that was a long answer, but
I get it. No, I get it,
Best
because
I have.
I was thinking, I don't know if you were here yet or not, I believe you were, but at one time, the one and only safety committee meeting we had, we brought up the fact is maybe having somebody from within the 911 center be the supervisor of those people.
well, there's been talk about making someone.
I can answer this.
Thank you,
We're
Mayor.
working on this internally. We'll let you know when we get to the point what we're gonna do with that moving forward. We don't have a definitive decision right now for that role, but we will communicate that when we get to that point.
Gotcha, that's good, that's fine.
One thing I will mention, so right now, 17102 as it's amended contemplates the clerk and deputy clerk coming to council for confirmation of the mayor's appointment. That's inconsistent with the charter amendment, so it's kind of up to you guys right now to decide whether you wanna keep it as I have it, or you wanna eliminate it. I just thought I'd raise that, given that recent charter amendment.
What does the charter amendment state?
Not required.
That we don't require confirmation for employees.
We don't.
Okay, that's part of that section there, because it's,
But the ordinance
So
still
the ordinance
implies that
still
it
does.
That's,
Right.
they're in conflict.
I did not eliminate that
Right.
okay.
as it's currently drafted.
So Madam President, what is your suggestion?
Is it in, what section is it in? Oh, confirms. Compensate, well, the compensation as is fixed by the mayor and
Section
confirmed by
B.
council.
Subsection B, new B.
Would you?
Yeah. Can we edit that?
If you guys want.
Would you guys, so here's what it says, guys. The clerk and deputy clerk shall be appointed by the mayor and subject to confirmation by a majority of those elected or appointed to council. Which is, if you recall, we had a charter amendment that eliminated the need for us to do that with anyone within the city,
Other than the department
other
heads?
than department heads. So this person isn't considered a department head, the clerk isn't considered a department head whatsoever, anyway. So, do we want to, edit that?
I'm not opposed to
Out.
making it consistent with
She'll
the
be,
charter.
yeah, exactly.
I think we should, to keep it lined up properly.
Mm-hmm.
And are we looking to modify this and pass it today, or is there no rush and this is just cleanup?
Well,
No,
There-
what I,
there's the
there is
higher-
definitely a rush because
Okay.
our current clerk, when she came here, made us aware of 2 vacations she was taking. And if we don't, everybody has to understand posting and interviewing and background check. It'll take 2 months to make all that happen.
It wasn't clear to me if we were just doing
Yeah.
cleanup of something that we found that was wrong, or if there was something this was dependent upon.
If we could do 1, 2, 3, then I could literally post tomorrow.
And I'll also add that Mrs. Smith has been filling in that department as well.
Yes.
Not the best
That
use of her
explains why
time.
she spoke up first.
Well,
I'm gonna be second.
let me say, between these 2 department heads, we're exhausting a lot of things that can be better used
Yeah.
elsewhere
Yeah.
for a position that's,
Kelsey's down there 6 hours a day.
Yes.
So let's,
So what
amend
we'll do
that.
is just amend to remove section B.
No, because we do want to be appointed by the mayor. So we
Right.
want to amend it to just say, shall be appointed by the mayor,
Okay, amend
section B
and
is
remove
set,
subject
right?
to confirmation. Okay,
Yep. Just delete from subject to,
Yeah, but, right. So Jan can say,
yeah, I got it.
can she just say, I want to amend it to say this sentence?
Yeah, that's fine.
That
I
works?
want to amend it, section B to remove subject to confirmation by majority of council.
You got it,
That's it.
I like it.
Okay,
So let's go 1, 2, 3 on
1,
that.
2, 3 on that.
Sorry to usurp you, Jeff.
You are doing fine. It's a team effort.
People gravitate to my hair.
Councilor Ventura, did you want to talk about this one?
No, because the language and the body of this was confirmed by the building commissioner and his inspector. They came up with the wording and along with the law department, and I think Mr. Rodick should be speaking on that to at least us.
Sure, yeah, the building department was asked to go ahead and study and put together this ordinance for registration of rental properties. So we took some time and we investigated what other cities do with this type of registration. I really think this is something that maybe council wants to read over, digest, and see how it feels before we actually go any further. And if anybody would have any questions regarding this, just please give me a call. Might be better that way.
Okay, so first reading tonight.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, that's it for legislation. We had a couple of other things. John, did you want to talk about the farmland?
Yeah, I'll just mention it briefly. I'm sure Mark could probably do a more eloquent job, but the county fiscal office sent me a letter. A property owner is applying for a placement of farmland in an agricultural district. I think the city only has one on the books right now. It happens every great once in a while, but the city has to either approve or reject their application, and before they do that, there has to be a public hearing. And this all has to happen within 30 days of receiving this application. So that would basically mean the next meeting, which is the 23rd,
Yeah.
we'd have to have a public hearing for that. So I also then need to get it published in the paper before that, like at least a week beforehand. So tomorrow is my deadline to get it in the paper for next week. So we can have a hearing the following week.
Okay.
This is for another agricultural?
Yeah, it's the new one.
This one, well, this was for the Robertson property, and was this, correct me if I'm, Ashta, or was this a different one?
This is a different property.
Okay, so the last time you guys did this was 2018 for Ashta, and we scheduled a public hearing because that was a new use versus Robertson, who I think she had swans, if I remember correctly, on the property. So this is a similar, really similar request for agricultural use for a tax exemption, essentially.
Is this basically a renewal, actually? No?
It's a new application. Also North Bedford, but
Yeah, I thought we granted that last time and then now this would have been a renewal.
I don't recall, I'll have to look at the actual application, but I think what John's asking for is just the okay to go ahead and get the notice posted. We'll have a public
Yeah.
hearing.
Get it done.
In the meantime,
Right.
what I can do is get the application, I'll summarize it for you, and then if you have any questions, you can let me know.
So just redo the public, can we do the public hearing like 15 minutes before the next
I
council
recommend it,
meeting?
yep.
So you can do it at
Everyone's good with that.
7:15?
7:15 on the 23rd,
Okay.
so we'll all be here anyway, yeah.
Right.
And then they'll speak, yeah, they'll present their
They
case.
can, if they want. yeah.
Okay,
All the information should be in the application if it's complete.
okay. And then John, once he, John can send us information that you have,
Yeah.
right? When it goes in the paper and all that stuff, and what the notice is in the paper, since not all of us get our paper. Cool.
It's been wet.
All right.
In the driveways again.
Next item is, council received, I think it came through you, John, right, the letter from MRDD?
what was it?
The,
No, I think we might have.
Request for a proclamation.
didn't that come?
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
Oh, that came through,
Yeah, it
the
did.
mayor's office,
No, it
right?
came through, it came
I
through.
forwarded it
John.
on.
Okay.
Mayor, yeah.
So, the, John received a letter from the county MRDD, asking us to, potentially, do a proclamation for the month of March, and the mayor said he was interested in doing it, if council was okay and on board with that.
It's just recognizing.
Yeah.
We've done it before.
Have we?
What's the
believe we have.
proclamation for?
Recognizing the MRDD and the things that they do to help the people with disabilities.
Right.
Okay.
For the month of March.
It's nothing extravagant.
So we'll have Diana draw that up, and we'll do that in our first March meeting, or maybe the second if the lady from the county would like to be there and she can't be at the first one.
Good idea.
But probably easier if we do it at the beginning of the month.
And I think that's it.
That's it?
Yep.
Good job, Josh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully, I gave everybody the ordinances they wanted.
Well, can't apologize for that. We just gotta do it.
I did. There were like two of them that I kind of just assumed, like,
Hello and welcome to the February 9th council meeting. It is 7:30 PM. Will Mr. Hoover please call the roll?
Ms. Brandt.
Here?
Mr. Finley.
Here.
Mr. Garvis.
Here.
Ms. Tully.
Here.
Mr. Ventura.
Here.
Now I ask American Legion Chaplain Tom O'Brien to lead us in the invocation and the pledge.
With bowed heads, let us pray. Almighty God, we pray Thee to give guidance to our elected officials so they may find the courage to work together for the common good of our community and to provide us with the necessary services that we have come to expect. We ask, Almighty God, that you watch over our police and fire personnel, for they are our first responders to crises that may arise at any time during the day or night. Keep them safe so at the end of their workday, they may safely return to their homes and families. We further ask, Almighty God, that you keep a watchful eye over all our city employees, those civil servants whose work is crucial for the benefit of our community. And in closing, O God of mercy, we ask for thy blessing and comfort for our neighbors who may be suffering from mental or physical disabilities. Cheer them and bring them thy blessing of health and happiness. Amen.
Amen.
And now please face the flag and join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Your Honor.
Go enjoy that warm, beautiful weather we're having.
You just jinxed it.
It's Ohio, you can't jinx anything here because it can
It's like
change
getting
on a
the
Makes
dime.
car
up its own
washed.
mind.
What happens after you get your car washed?
It snows.
Okay.
Okay, first up is approval of minutes from Tuesday, the 26th of 2023.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from Thursday, January 26, 2023, regular council meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public comments? I don't see that we have any this evening. Correspondence from the clerk.
Yes, I have one email that was received to the fire department. It is from Joe Fargo. Says, Chief, I wanted to take a moment to recognize one of your employees, Lieutenant Joe Natali. I arrived at the station this morning to address a concern that I had. I was met by the lieutenant who invited me in, gave me a seat, and allowed me to address my concern. He was very attentive. He actively listened and asked questions. My concerns were addressed and a follow-up was offered to which I didn't need. Lieutenant Natali demonstrated excellent leadership and communication skills. I was grateful for his time and assistance. Thank you for your time, Chief. Kind regards, Joe. And that's it.
Nice work.
Always love to hear things like that. Okay, moving into pending or new legislation, starting with ordinance number 1.
I move to offer ordinance number 1, 2023, for its third reading by title only.
Second.
An emergency ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Lordstown EV Corporation for the purchase of a 2023 Endurance CC1L pickup truck for the city service department without the necessity of advertisement and formal bidding.
I think we've talked about this pretty extensively. Is there any further comments or questions? Hearing none, what is your pleasure?
I move to adopt ordinance number 1, 2023, and post the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Ordinance number 1 carries. Ordinance number 12.
I move to offer ordinance number 12, 2023, for its second reading by
No-
title only.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement for donation of the real property known as permanent parcel numbers 33-00010, 33-00012, and 33-03316.
More to come on this likely in the next meeting, so we'll have a probably lengthy discussion when that time comes. Resolution number 13.
I move to offer Resolution 13, 2023, for its first, second, and third readings by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution confirming the mayor's reappointment of Donnie Bosch to the City of Macedonia Parks and Recreation Commission.
Mr. Bosch filled the the unfinished term of another person, and this is just reaffirming him to the Parks and Recreation Commission. Is there anything you want to add to that?
I just thank anyone, whoever volunteers to be on a commission, and I'm glad that he decided that he wants to continue with us. So I look forward to working with him for another 5 years, or someone will be.
Thank you. What's your pleasure?
I move to pass and post Resolution number 13, 2023 into law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 13 carries. Resolution number 14.
I offer resolution number 14, 2023 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution authorizing the city engineer to prepare plans, bids, and specifications, and further authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids for certain improvements along City Hall's emergency driveway.
Director Gelati?
Yeah, thank you. This project is to perform various concrete repairs and asphalt resurfacing for the emergency services driveway right here at the City Hall, as well as to correct a number of drainage issues that we have on that driveway.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, what is your pleasure?
I move to adopt resolution number 14, 2023 and post the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 14 carries. Resolution number 15.
I move to offer Resolution 15, 2023 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution authorizing the city engineer to prepare plans, bids, and specifications, and further authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids to resurface Golden Lake Boulevard.
Director Gelati?
Yes, this is exactly that, to resurface Golden Link Boulevard in the Golden Link Shopping Center. It's a joint project with our neighbors, Northfield Center Township, and as discussed previously, the project is 50% funded by OPWC.
But we pay for 42.5% of the project.
Correct.
That's the portion that's within Macedonia.
And we do have a cooperative agreement in place with the township.
Yes. Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, what is your pleasure?
I move to adopt Resolution number 15, 2023 and post the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 15 carries. Ordinance number 16.
Director Gaddetti, should I modify first or introduce it first?
Introduce it first.
Okay. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 16, 2023 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An emergency ordinance, should I read it now?
Yes.
Emergency ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Tim Ganley Chevrolet of Aurora for the purchase of one Chevrolet Tahoe for the city police department, and to enter into a contract with Statewide to outfit the Tahoe for a total amount not to exceed $60,500 without the necessity of advertisement and formal bidding.
So essentially, I know we're going to modify this slightly, but we're having a lot of trouble getting police vehicles. We have pushed the useful life of the vehicles we currently have on the road. I was able to find this one locally, and hopefully we can purchase this tonight to get our gentleman and lady that work in our police department in a vehicle that is safe and functioning to the point where we're not fixing it all the time. And that is the purpose of it.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to replace Tim Ganley with Ken Ganley wherever it may occur throughout the ordinance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And what is your pleasure?
I'd like to offer ordinance 16, 2023 and pass and post it according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance number 16 carries. Ordinance number 17.
I'd like to offer ordinance number 17 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance amending section 171.02 of the codified ordinances of the city of Macedonia relative to the positions of clerk of court and deputy clerk of court of the mayor's court.
So essentially, when the pandemic hit, we had 1.5 people working in that department. We realized very quickly with the drop that was occurring that we didn't need those folks. We didn't need basically 2 people. This is essentially putting it back on to hire 1 full-time person to help assist in that department, which we feel is sorely needed. Currently, we have our HR department, our finance department working down there feverishly, I think would be a kind word to use, and taking people off task. So this would be able to put them back on task and not let their own departments struggle and get this other department up and running to the point where we don't need that help. But the nice thing about this is now we have that help if needed, but we'd rather have it be permanent help in that department. Any further discussion?
I'd like to make a motion to amend section B to remove the last part of the sentence, subject to confirmation by a majority of those elected or appointed to council.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And what is your pleasure?
Okay, now I'd like to pass and post according to law, ordinance number 17, 2023, please.
Oh, sorry, second.
All in favor?
Losing my.
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance number 17 carries. Ordinance number 18.
I'd like to offer ordinance number 18, 2023 for its first reading only and by
Title only.
Title.
by title only.
An ordinance amending Chapter 1327 of the codified ordinances of the City of Macedonia by adding Section 1327.06 relative to the registration of residential rental property within the City of Macedonia.
I would fully anticipate much more conversation revolving around this. I know this is something that Councilor Ventura has been working on for some time, but there'll be more to come on this unless you guys have anything you want to add currently today.
Should Mr. Rodick speak to it?
Maybe you want to add, Mr. Rodick?
Nothing I can add right now. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
If anyone has any questions or concerns about us, please reach out to us or the clerk who will forward your questions.
Do we have any other motions or legislative actions? Hearing none, I'll go into the mayor's report. The revenue for Mayor's Court in January 2023 was $35,792.79. We got something from NOPEC. If you don't know about NOPEC, it's a nonprofit. It's a consortium of government that they give back a lot of things to communities. There's a lot of things in the media out there now that they're pushing a lot of false narratives regarding them. But what I'll say about it is they give back a lot of things. Based on our usage, they give dollars back to the communities to use, which pretty much funded a lot of things. I know we put lights in City Hall. We put the lights almost solely on the ball fields because of the monies that they have given us. So we're being awarded this year $31,368. I can assure you no for-profit business is ever going to give that back to us, and that's something why when we talk about NOPEC and the value that it is to our communities, this is a big reason why I'm in great support of them, and I'm also on the board there. So it definitely is something that I hold near and dear to me.
They funded all the lights at the rec center, all the replacement of the lights
Yes.
at the, inside the rec center. And if you look at the money that is spent on electricity, it has gone down significantly since that happened. So that's been great, too.
Madam President, they also supplied the telephone storage and charging system.
All right.
Yep.
They do a lot of things. They do a lot of event sponsorships for us. They give money to Veterans Memorial every year. They give money to the Manor House. I mean, there's a lot of good things that they give back to. So I thank them for that. That's good stuff.
And they do that to communities in all the counties that are members of NOPEC. So when you hear about it, they are truly a nonprofit because they turn their money back to help the communities do things that they need to do for energy savings.
Next topic I want to bring up is I see and I hear questions from people, and there's a new one out there that TJ Maxx wasn't coming, and it kind of went awry, and everyone was saying that. That's not true. TJ Maxx is coming. Nordstrom Rack is still coming. Unfortunately, social media kind of takes off sometimes, and I was tipped off. Someone let me know about it, and that's why I'm addressing it today. They are still coming. The rumors that you're hearing are not true. They're great businesses that we want to have in our town, and they're still coming. I want to touch very briefly on the police incident that happened. We had an altercation with an individual, and there was a discharge of a firearm. A lot of times people want all the information they can have, and they want to know everything now. As Americans, we want everything now, and I get that. I want to know everything now myself. Unfortunately, there's a legal process that we follow. When that incident occurred, we not only are spurring an internal investigation, but BCI is also investigating it. When that happens, we want to protect, the people that are involved in that, whether they're a victim, the assailant, whoever the people may be. We always want to protect them until we know what's going on and the investigation is complete. I see and I've heard and I've been asked, what's going on, and I say I can't say anything. And there's people that think that we're hiding stuff from the public. That is never the case. That's not what's happening here. We will disseminate everything out as we get them, as the law department says we can. There's never going to be a hiding of anything. And if there's anything I'm missing and you want to add to that.
No, I think the point is that there's a legal process in place. The city's following established protocol that occurs really for any officer-involved use of force nowadays. And the purpose of keeping statements to a minimum is to not interfere with that legal process, which is what the city's adhering to.
and I'll make it a little more clear. We never want to put ourselves in a legal position where we have to defend ourselves because we gave out information we weren't supposed to or anything of that nature. So it's all about being cautious and protecting the people that are involved in it. That's all we're trying to do. We're not going to hide anything from anyone. I had a community focus interview this week where we talked about this for quite some time. And I went on for a while, speaking of that, we're going to do things the right way. We're not going to hide things from the public. And I tell you right now, I vow to you as the mayor of the city, if there's information I can give to you, you're going to get it. I'm not going to hide it from you. There's nothing to hide here. When you hide things, it gives the insinuation that there's something to hide, and I'm never going to do that. So we're going to give you all the information we can. Don't ever think that we don't. But with that, I want to point out that we are a very, very safe community. Our police department has never had this happen before. We do a lot to keep us safe. You know, an example of that would be the cameras that we have that read the license plate readers, the flock cameras. You know, if you're not doing anything wrong and your license plate's not flagged by that thing, you have nothing to worry about. We're not looking for the average person. We're looking for the people that have committed a crime. The one thing that rings in my mind when I was sold on that thing was if a child goes missing or is abducted and it flags a blue Ford Taurus with the license plate LJK 732, that's going to pick that up. If that's your child in that car, you want that car found. And a lot of communities are going to these cameras. So we're doing a lot of things to do that. We're deterring people from coming to our community that intend to commit these crimes. But I can tell you that our police department and our dispatchers work very, very hard to keep us safe. That also includes our fire department. But the police that patrol our community are there to keep us safe and protect us. And that's what they're going to do day in and day out. I respect them to the hilt, and I can tell you that they have nothing but your safety in mind with everything they do. They are very well trained, and everything that they do is to keep you safe. So I cannot say that enough times. Trust in our police department. We're going to be safe. We're going to deter crime. If something happens, unfortunately with this one, we're going to have to deal with that. So just know that moving forward, you will be safe. I promise you, as long as I'm here, we will be safe.
Can I add to that, Mayor?
Sure.
Keep in mind with those camera systems, they share information with other police departments that have those cameras. So if we don't spot something, maybe another department will pick up on it if that car makes it out of town.
That's part of the system, is that there's someone commits a crime anywhere and you have these cameras, it goes to all of them. It's not necessarily even a camera, it's just a license plate reader that flags it. They're not keeping data, they're not storing data, we're not looking at any of that stuff, that's not what's going on. I know there's a lot of conjecture out there that this is some kind of conspiracy theory, that we're gathering information and sending it to China, or we're using some. Not happening. That's not what it's for, and I will never say that that's for anything other than keeping us safe. Next thing I want to bring up is we have a couple birthdays. This week we have Mr. Ventura's birthday, so happy birthday, Mr. Ventura.
Thank you much.
Today is my wife's birthday. I want to wish her a happy birthday. She allowed me to come here today, so thank you all for having me today.
Happy birthday, Jenny.
Love her very much, and I'll see her shortly. One thing I want to point out, a little sad note. President Brandt's father passed away, Bob Brandt Jr. I had attended his funeral this week, and I was in awe because I did not know that gentleman had earned a Bronze Star. That's a big deal, guys. Like, that's something that's very special, and when I saw that, I was blown away. If you don't know what a Bronze Star is, it's for heroic or meritorious deed in conflict. Not many people get that, so that's a very, very, very high thing to get, and I'd like to take a moment of silence to recognize President Brandt's father, if you could. Thank you. And last but not least, please don't drive distracted. Put the phones down and operate your vehicle without distraction. Okay, moving into committee reports.
Parks and Rec Commission will have its February meeting next Wednesday on the 15th at 6 o'clock in the activity room.
The Charter Review Commission will have its first meeting tentatively at 6 p.m. on Wednesday the 22nd. And then dates to follow after that committee has a chance to meet.
Thank you.
Wednesday, February 22nd?
Wednesday, February 22nd, the Wednesday prior to next council meeting. 6 p.m. and it'll be here in the caucus chamber.
Gotcha.
Okay, moving into department reports, starting with Director Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor. It's winter, we're busy not plowing snow at the moment, so we've got some indoor projects going on. We've been helping at the rec center, pulling wire and doing some different things with the new front desk and all that's going on there. I should steal all the thunder. Now he's mad at me.
You can take the front end.
And I think we're going to do some renovations out here in the lobby and the bathrooms of City Hall here. So that's about to get started. Doing some hiring of a maintenance technician, just filling a vacant position. We'll be starting seasonal interviews and that kind of thing, gearing up for the summer, and the grass will be growing before we know it. I had a good conversation this week with Dan Davis at Vets, one of the veterans, and it heads up the Vets Park over there, and they've got all kinds of things lined up for this summer, all kinds of volunteer groups, and as always, they get donations with concrete, the new sidewalks coming in to go to the new bathroom and all that stuff. A fountain project with lights and all kinds of things. So he was just really cranked up and excited. Some sort of an archway that might be going in, and they're doing some electrical work. So the vets are always growing and doing new things over there, and it's just really the centerpiece of the city. It's a beautiful park. So yeah, that's just something exciting that he really wanted me to share. He talked for much longer, but that will be all. End of report.
Thank you. Director Gelati. Sorry, go ahead.
Do you have an update on the construction of the restrooms? I remember you said possibly March, maybe?
Yeah, I kind of gave him I gave my guys a tentative date, like April 1st.
Okay.
Try to really shoot for that. As far as to be done.
Okay, but
I mean, we're
it's
really
looking
close with, I know they were like scrubbing down walls as far as, after you build the walls, they're cleaning walls down. Partitions are going up. Electric, I think, is all done. We had an electrician in this week.
Okay.
It's all ran. So now we're like setting toilets and fixtures and that kind of thing. So
Nice.
really getting there.
Yeah, thank you.
Director Gelati.
Sure, thanks, Mayor. Thank you to council for passing the two pieces of legislation tonight for the two projects. So we'll get that process going, and we'll plan to have a contractor recommendation for council for both projects in March. End of report.
Thank you. Director Chaddick.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to start by thanking Sam Clark Cartwright, who is, or I guess was, our customer service specialist at the front desk. She worked the night shift. She recently accepted, and on Monday she started a new position as program and facilities manager in Mayfield Village, and I just wanted to kind of publicly recognize that and thank her for her service here. She was a full-timer here for a year, and kind of let council know what a difference it made for that position. She would not be able to be in the position she just accepted that obviously had a huge jump up for her in status recreationally. Without that customer service specialist position that you guys approved about a year and a half ago, this doesn't happen for her in her career. So that position did exactly what we had hoped for when we designed it. Unfortunately, we didn't have a spot for her to move here, so we helped her get elsewhere. So kudos to her for that. We're currently posting a bunch of part-time positions as we get ready for the summer, looking for summer camp counselors, some officials, and then obviously we're always in search for new lifeguards as we continue to grow. I'm not even going to comment on the front desk project right now. There's a structure there. We won't be using it yet. There's some repairs going on for it, and we're running a lot of wire. So I thank Service for coming out to help us with a lot of things, both in the pool and within the facility. The chemical controllers for the pool did go in today. So we went from 1995 technology to 2023 technology in one day, which is pretty incredible. They now hook up to our computers so we can control all the chemical automation. So we're pretty excited about that. The summer activity guide will be out next month. So Sam Edgar is doing a great job of working on that. Kudos to all of our staff for everything that they've put into the activity guide. To give you guys a neat example, soccer registration opened about a week and a half ago for spring soccer, and there's well over 100 people already signed up for it. So I actually encourage the community to get out and sign up very quickly when they see sports programs, because we are maxing out sports and we don't have enough room to put more teams in. So I definitely encourage everyone to sign up quickly. anyway, we're getting ready for spring and summer right now. That's what all of our planning is. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Director Veras.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to let everybody know that we closed 2022 this week, and all the reports have been sent out to council and the administration. Resident refunds have started, and the due date is Monday, July 17th, unless your return is extended with Rita. End of my report.
What's your favorite topic to talk about? I think that's synonymous with John Veras.
More than tips,
No, I think he likes that one more. At least public meetings.
giving people money. Who doesn't love that?
That's right.
Chief Ripley.
Thank you, Mayor. That'll be John's report from now until July.
Yeah, well.
So, I just want to say, I don't know if you guys are aware, there's supply chain issues in our country. Got a phone call this week that our 2 ambulances, one for the city, one for Northfield Center Township, have been pushed back 2 more months because of air conditioning parts shortages. So we're working on that, so it's still there. Along the same line, Station 3 is basically done, as long as you can run a building with no power. The main power disconnect is on back order because you can't get all the parts. So when we're able to move into that building, we don't know. It's very nice, but it's not quite done. And for those of you who were around the Commons on Friday around lunch, you saw a whole bunch of emergency vehicles. A pickup truck found its way into the pond at Home Depot. It was discovered around 11:30 in the morning. We did not know if it was occupied or not. Therefore, we were in rescue mode, and it was pulled out, and that subject had actually been transported to the hospital that morning from a different location. Could not confirm when we did track him down whether there was anyone in the vehicle with him, and luckily there was not. The vehicle was removed without incident and no injuries. So I will encourage people, if you see something, we're not going to leave a vehicle in a pond. Call, and the worst thing is dispatch says we are aware, thank you. I just can't believe from daylight until 11:30 that nobody saw it. And they just thought that it was probably already taken care of. So then on behalf of the police and the fire department, Lieutenant Yakupovich called me. Our deepest condolences, Jessica, to you and your family. And I, like the mayor, was very impressed with the Bronze Star. That's an accomplishment that the entire family should be proud of. So, end of report.
I would say interim chief Yakupovich, and I'm going to do his report for him. I thank you for taking care of the last meeting for me, because I think I have the bug that he has, and the way that he sounded today, I recommended that he not bring it into here for all of us to catch again, or for the first time or second time. I'm good with that. So I'm going to read his report for him. We have confirmed that a credit debit card skimmer was placed in an ATM at one of our local banks. It appears the skimmer was in place from January 20th until January 28th. We have had several reports of card account numbers and PINs being used throughout southern Ohio. We have an ongoing investigation with some substantial leads. There's more to come out about this, but I think I asked the lieutenant interim chief to put something out on our website talking about this, because you have to be able to recognize what a skimmer looks like and how they operate and what they're doing. I can tell you that there's generally a thing that they slide over anything you slide your card into. So now I have the habit, anytime I use my card, or if I'm not tapping it, or even if I am tapping it, I tend to grab it to see if it's loose, because there's something they usually slide right on top of it. So we're going to put something out about that to talk about what to look for, and that'll be coming here very, very soon. So more to come on that. Director Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. HR continues to be very busy. We're filling 2 service positions. We obviously now will be filling the court position. We have a police administrative position that will be posted, and I'm currently interviewing and helping the police department to make their final determination of their SRO officer. So pretty busy, and end of report, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Rhoda.
Thank you, Mayor. I thought I'd give you a rundown on our commercial building projects real quickly. Hopefully quickly. Out when I open it up, it's about 60% of its first floor, week before last. And that consists basically of examination rooms. The other 40% is a Moore's lab, which treats skin cancers. That'll be opening up the week after next. The second floor, which is a trial and development laboratory, will be opening up at a later date. Target is in the final phase of its renovation project with the installation of frozen food in the produce section. They're expecting that to wrap up at the end of April. Don Bass Jewelers is moving along. I understand that they're going to have the delivery of their roof trusses in about 6 weeks, which is, I know they're not real happy with, but they do still anticipate completion in July. And as the mayor mentioned earlier, phase 1 of the demolition work at TG Maxx is underway. Phase 2 of the roof reconstruction and phase 3 of the improvements will be in shortly. The owner has not really announced when he thinks the time frame will allow an opening date. Yesterday, the mayor mentioned in our staff meeting, Panda Express, and I thought it would be interesting to just go ahead and bring it up, that yellow finish, that mustard finish is not the finish. It's actually a sealant, and they will be putting up a brick finish. So our planning commission didn't go awry in that case. And both Optima Dermatology and Chipotle will be continuing that lighted brick pillar and aluminum fence along Route 8 and on the access road as part of the requirements of their improvement projects. And then lastly, the Planning Commission will be meeting this coming Monday at 5:30, and the Board of Appeals will be meeting next Wednesday at 6:30. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Director Collins.
Thank you, Mayor. Recent projects, cut over of internet at the Sagamore Fire Department. We had wiring for the front desk at the rec center, wiring for the controllers at the rec center. Went to some cybersecurity training and also got the link between the rec center and here dialed in after it was physically dialed back in. Now, digitally, the bandwidth is open back up. And we report. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Cadetti.
I have no report, sir.
Any unfinished business? Any new business?
I have 3 quick things. Yesterday at 4:30, first of all, here's the question. What's the speed limit on Route 82? 35 until you hit Crow, and then it becomes 25. Nobody knows that, who drives it. But yesterday there was an SAIA semi-tractor trailer who was doing the speed limit. And I just want to shout out, because normally they're in a rush because they're on a time clock. So I don't know who it was. I just know that it was made my jaw, but
And they probably turned down South Bedford and ruined all the good.
Good one.
the other thing in the, you probably saw it if you read the news leader. If you don't, it's online electronically. The congratulations to Nordonia's high school team for winning first place at the mock trial. And they're now moving on to regionals. And one of the coaches will sound familiar. It's Farrad Sethna, who's been very involved with us. But take the time to take a look at it. They, among 18 teams, they came in first. The second team also advanced to the competition. So February 17th, they'll be back in trial. Then the last thing is, I got an email from First Energy next week, weather permitting. Yep, the helicopters are going to be out. They have to check, which is good for all of us. They check the wires, they check the lines. They may hover if they see something. Now I know across the street behind the houses, there's all the wires. So I always get them coming over saying, why are they there? Is there something wrong? But this is their, weather permitting, it's their routine spring patrol. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to take a moment to thank everyone here for expressing their sympathy on the passing of my dad. My parents have lived in Macedonia for almost 50 years now in the same house, in the same neighborhood. My dad was a Boy Scout and a Girl Scout dad, an NHAA baseball dad, and a Nordonia band dad. Among other things, as you know, also a Bronze Star soldier. Our family has had a lot of wonderful friends in Macedonia. It was very nice to see so many neighbors, past and present, come pay respects and share good memories of Dad. And as it happens, even one of our wonderful nurses in the ICU is a Macedonia resident, or in the emergency room. I want everyone to know what wonderful people are living here in Macedonia and also working for you here in Macedonia, from the elected officials down to the entire staff. I also want to give special mention to our dispatch and fire departments. When you call 911 in Macedonia, it might very well be your worst day, but you'll be met with not only professionalism and skill, but also kindness, dignity, and respect. And I'll leave you with the most important lesson I learned from my dad. Please be kind to one another. Thanks. And with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?